crazy.
Show off your skin, that shit is popping, girl. Body on 10, damn, you got it, girl. You gotta boss up, getting them checks, living your best, racks up. Oh, keep walking with confidence. Effortlessly, you let them know who is in command. You just that and more. Don't forget it. God worked hard on you for sure. Lexus, Exodus. Shout out to my exes.
I'm honestly so disappointed and so hurt that white women on this app really believe that black women hate them. I understand that the content that I upload is controversial. I touch on a lot of sensitive topics that a lot of people are scared of. I speak for all black women when I say we love white queens who respect all queens of every ethnic background. We do, however, hate you possums and snow roaches that think that you are above us when you actually can't compete or compare. You are second choice, you always have been and you always will be. Black men choose you when they can't get what they want from us. It's laughable that you think that the idea of us hating you actually exists. Bitch, you're not important enough. Know your place and don't you ever get it fucked up.
Hello, guys. It is Lexus Exodus, leader of the Black Women Exodus. How are you all doing? Like always, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Please share. Also, please say what's up in the chat. Say hey in the comment section. Let me know that you're listening. Also, shout out to my moderators, always holding it down. Shout out to Moonweaver. Shout out to Nelly P. Shout out to Holland. I appreciate you and the work that you do. Also, if you have any suggestions or any tips or any ideas for new stories, please feel free to share those with me. I love to hear from you guys. My Gmail is lexusexoduschannel@gmail.com. Additionally, if just because we know the nakers be nakering and the trolls be trolling, please, if you have a moment, take a second and follow the backup page. That's called LexX. That's LEXEX, and I will also link it in the description below. So here's another installment of my daily series called the Blackistan Zoo, where we profile the animals, characters, creatures, and dusty derelicts found in Blackistan. So let's go. So today we are going to talk about the struggle of Maiden. So we'll go through the profile of the struggle of Maiden, and then we'll really examine this animal in its natural habitat and explore its innate behavior, and really look at real life examples that illustrate the struggle of Maiden. So let's go. So your struggle of Maiden, their habitats, you'll find them residing at your local clinics, your local abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood. You'll also oftentimes see them on Jerry Springer and Maury. Their behavior. So the struggle of Maiden is a very unintelligent mammy who regularly enters in and out of very toxic relationships with Tyrone. So she's very silly, very, very stupid, and she engages in the same behavior over and over and over again with the same kinds of men, thinking that one day she'll magically get different results and we'll have a different experience. So she messes with Tyrones who don't value commitment or relationships. They don't value their families. They don't value bonding with their children. So she'll get pumped and dumped. She'll get cheated on. And these two, as a result, are always fussing and fighting. And she's oftentimes just getting taken advantage of until the Tyrone finds his next mark. So let's look at a struggle of Maiden. She shares a ring video of her Tyrone approaching her front porch, and it goes left pretty quickly. So let's watch this so we can illustrate these dynamics of the struggle of Maiden and her counterpart in their natural habitat. So let's see. Okay, so here we have this ugly ape who is caught on surveillance video of him talking to another woman, saying that he is at his little thot's house. So this big dummy is on the phone with another chick, talking about he's over his little thot's house. And it's like, big dummy, you couldn't even have enough respect to end that conversation before you walked up to her doorstep.
This is the interesting thing, because I know she saw this video, because here the caption says, "There's so much I could say, but I don't have no energy anymore." But I bet you, how much do you want to bet she's still messing with this fool? And she probably still is continuing to talk to him and is still continuing to lay down with him, even though he's very disrespectful. I also wanted to examine your Struggle Love Maiden's diet, so you can see how they sustain themselves. So here is the breakfast of your Struggle Love Maiden. We have McDonald's struggle meal. We have a hash brown, a sausage McMuffin, and we have a Planet B pill, and she'll wash it down with a McDonald's orange juice. And it's because the Tyrone won't even take her to IHOP afterwards. So your struggle maiden, she sustains themselves. She'll sustain herself on diets of fast food. You'll see Hennessy, Moscato, Plan B pills, of course. And the packaging even says on, these pills that you shouldn't use this as birth control. It's not contraception. But the struggle of maiden, they don't think long term. So they'll rather continue to have unprotected sex with these losers and then pay $50 every time that they have unprotected sex the morning after on an ad hoc basis, as opposed to just getting the pill.
Okay, so one thing that I really want to emphasize is how the Struggle Love Maidens, her relationships with these Tyrones, they are characterized and identified by being extremely toxic, extremely dysfunctional. So let's review this next clip of a Struggle Love Maiden really illustrating her toxicity, her toxic relationship with her ape after she takes his phone. So let's watch this and then we'll talk through.
Ooh. Ooh. He's a runner, he's a track star. He gonna run away when he get caught. He can't break the window cause it's too hard.
Y'all see this mess? Y'all see that mess? So this woman, this Struggle Love Maiden, she takes her ape's phone as a joke. She runs to the car and locks herself in. And what you're watching is the Naker chasing her outside naked. He's shirtless. He has his drawers on and tries to get his phone. Once he realizes that the door is locked, he then proceeds to attempt to bust the windows of the car. Really, y'all? Really? And I remember being there. I would never do that shit in my 30s, but when I was in my 20s and I was young and dumb and I was a Struggle Love Maiden, I remember doing the same exact bullshit. I remember taking my ex-husband's phone and locking myself in the bathroom. I remember one time, he had logged in on my laptop, and then in my head, we ended up leaving and we got in the car, and in my head, I'm like, as soon as we get home, I'm gonna look at his Facebook, because he had logged in on his social media account. Why did we start to pull up? Then this man remembered, said that he forgot something at the house, comes back 5 minutes later. Why, when we got home, that shit was totally logged out? Because what he ended up doing is remembering that his dumb ass was logged in to all his social media accounts on my laptop. So he made an excuse to turn around and go back home so he could make sure that he logged out. Never again, y'all. Never again. And this is my thing. And that man looks about my age. And so I'm guessing the woman is about my age. And she's sitting here recording it, making a joke about it, like it's the track star challenge. But that shit ain't funny. Like, who wants to be in a situation with someone like that where you always have to look over your shoulders? Who wants to do that? Who wants to always wonder when he says he's out with the boys? Is he really out with the boys, or is he messing with some girl? Is she really his cousin, or is this a chick that he secretly be smashing on the side? Who wants to do all that? Who wants to do? And I remember that being so miserable because I was always on edge every time he stepped away. Every time, he's using the restroom, is he texting another chick? Every time he leaves, when he says he's at work, is he really at work? Who wants to go through that bull crap? That's miserable. And for all that, I mean, really, it is so much. I don't understand. I got to a point where I was like, I'd just rather be single. And this is before I divested, because I had so many terrible experiences with niggers. I kind of just chucked it up as like, okay, all men are like this. All men are trash. But no, the reality is Blackistan, there's this culture that is normalized, where it's normal to be a womanizer. It's normal to cheat. It's normal to not value commitment, to not value your wife and your children and the familial unit. So no, you won't experience this when you divest. And of course, we know common sense. All of anything is never one thing. We know that that's common sense. So of course, you're going to find some white men and men of different ethnicities that cheat as well. But what I'm saying is, it's not the commonality. It's not the recurrent thing like it is in Blackistan. In Blackistan, you get a pat on the back if you're cheating on your girl. That's encouraged. That's condoned. That's why in the music you'll hear these men talking about bitches and hoes, because that's the norm. That's encouraged. In divestment world, it's not like that. In divestment world, it's encouraged to be a man of integrity, to be a man who honors his wife, to be a man who's a caretaker and who is a provider and a protector and who loves and cherishes his family. So anyway, again, that illustrates the everyday life, a day in the life of your struggle love maiden. Let's look at another instance where we review and really analyze another instance of the struggle love maiden in her everyday interaction with her nigger rape.
Why are you here? I told your ass not to come back. I miss you, bitch. I miss your fucking ass. I miss you like shit. I miss you. I'm going to call my brother on you. Call his ass. Bitch, get his ass. Get his ass. I miss your ass.
Okay, let's watch that again if you had some difficulties discerning what was going on.
I told your ass not to come back. I miss you, bitch. I miss your fucking ass. I miss you like shit. I miss you. I'm going to call my brother on you. Call his ass. Bitch, get his ass. Get his ass. I miss your ass.
So here we see the struggle of Maiden at her windowsill while this nigger throws rocks at her window and talks about how much he misses her. And these are young children. These are kids. They're young. They look like they may be 17 or 18, but it doesn't get better with age. That's why I included this in here. And I actually think it's the exact opposite. I think that Tyrone's regress. And I have this theory that these men are like Benjamin Button when it comes to maturation and when it comes to adolescence and adulthood. So think about it. So they'll start off super Swedish children and they'll be like very loving boys. They'll love their mothers and their sisters and they'll be very protective and will respect the women in their families and in their lives. And that's because they're innocent children who are untainted by Blackistan. But as they age, they become more and more indoctrinated with this problematic ideology from the community and in Blackistan. And they become more influenced by the problematic culture of Eidville. So they become very erratic. They become womanizers and objectify women because they'll see the behavior and the treatment of the women around them by the men in their lives. They'll have temper tantrums like this fool, and they'll lack basic problem-solving skills. So oftentimes they're destructive and violent. And I really do think that's why, mammies are so blinded and are so in denial when they're confronted with their children's problematic behavior. And they'll, you'll hear them saying, my son. It's because they remember, long ago when he was a sweet, loving little boy. So it's hard for them to accept the fact that now little Ray is a monster and he's a menace to society and he's terrorizing the neighborhood and he's victimizing everyone that comes across his path. But anyways, that's just my theory. Let me know you guys' thoughts about that and what you think. But moreover, I think that this behavior, this video really just illustrates what the struggle of maiden experience is, because these fools regress in the maturation process and you'll really be able to see their degenerative behaviors when you're in relationships with them. So let's see what else we have here. Let's look at another struggle love maiden as she interacts with her Tyrone. And I'll try to enlarge this so you guys can see. So I'm thinking he's confronting her with another man. And he's upset. Now he's being physical with her. This cowardly ape doesn't try to defend her. He leaves. I don't know if what's going on here. You can tell there's some type of physical confrontation. Okay. So that's just sad. And I'm not sure what the full context is here, but if you're having trouble understanding what's happening here, we don't know if he caught her cheating, but she's with another man and clearly they're on bad terms. And this Tyrone just pops up and pops the fuck off. And regardless of what happened, if she's cheating, if she's having an affair, it doesn't explain this extreme display of feminine bitch-like behavior. So he humiliates the poor girl out in public in a restaurant full of people. He takes her shoes. You see that he pulls her wig off. And they look middle-aged. They look grown. They look like they could very well be my parents' age. But like I said, in Blackistan, these fools age backwards. So I'm not surprised that instead of just cutting ties and ending things like a man and being on about his business and just, washing his hands of her, he publicly humiliates this woman like a little bit. That's what he does. And that's, that really just illustrates the struggle love maiden, her interactions in these problematic relationships. They are very toxic. They are very unhealthy. They're full of trauma, pain, fussing, fighting, and bickering. They don't believe in healthy relationships. They really, really enjoy this toxicity. So let's look at another instance of a struggle of maiden engaging in an interaction with an ape. This one is a little bit older, but I do feel like it really just hits the nail on the head when we talk about profiling the maiden and her daily interactions and her daily behavior and what she experiences on a regular basis. So let's go.
You gonna put a gun on me? You gonna put a gun on me? You lie. You bout that. You bout that. You bout that.
Watch out, bro. Give me your camera.
You gonna shoot me?
Give me your camera.
It's my phone. You can't tell me to do shit.
Get out of my
You can't tell me
house.
to do shit. You gonna shoot me?
What the
You gonna
fuck?
shoot me?
Nigga, you really?
You gonna shoot
Everybody
me?
watching. Well, this is smoke sure. Smoke sure.
Man, half of the people that's on my shit don't even know what that shit is, man. Half of the people on my shit don't even know
You
what
want
that
to
is.
die on God? Get out.
Bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. That's the point. That's why I'm on here, because you ain't gonna do shit. You're not gonna pull it. You not bitch enough to do it. You're scary. My nigga, you ain't no gangster, my nigga. I bet y'all slap the piss out of you.
Ah, fuck. This girl just shot me. This girl just shot me.
Oh, let's run that back. This is from last year, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen this already, but I thought that this was so funny. I got such a kick out of this. So let's watch this again. This is a struggle love maiden who is in a confrontation with her Tyrone, and it just does not end well for him.
You lie. You bout that. You bout You about that?
Watch out, bro.
Shoot.
Give me off
You
camera.
gonna shoot?
Give me off camera.
It's my phone. You can't tell me do shit.
Get out of my
You can't tell me
house.
do shit. You gonna shoot?
What the
You gonna
fuck?
shoot?
Nigga, you really?
You gonna shoot?
Everybody who watching. This nigga smoke shirt. Smoke shirt.
Man, half of the people that's on my shit don't even know what that shit is, man. Half of the people on my shit don't even know
You
what
wanna
that is.
die on live? Get out.
Bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. That's the point. That's why I'm on here, because you ain't gonna do shit. You not gonna pull it. You not bitchy enough to do it. You're scary. My nigga, you ain't no gangster, my nigga. I bet y'all slap the piss out you.
So she shot him. Okay. So, like I said, this is an oldie but goodie. This really depicts accurately the average day in the life of your struggle love maiden, though, because, like I said, healthy relationships are abnormal in Blackistan. These relationships, these unions are characterized by struggle and strife. So you'll see them often arguing and fighting, and even in extreme instances like this, you'll see it in gun violence. And I won't fault her. The fool wouldn't leave her home. She asked him to leave over and over again. She told him to leave her alone. He lunged at her, and so she had no choice but to pump some lead into his ass. And I'm just saying, ladies, avoid these relationships so you're not put in these type of situations in the first place, because anytime that you shoot someone, there's an investigation. A lot of times they'll oftentimes will arrest you and then ask questions later. And you don't want to be in a situation. I mean, if you have to defend yourself, that's one thing, but you don't want to be in a situation where you're intentionally in a relationship with someone where it's so dramatic and it's so traumatic and it's so problematic that you end up having to resort to gun violence to protect yourself from the other person. So anyway, I say all of that to say, in summation, do not be the struggle love maiden. Do not be engaged in a struggle love with these fools. And again, if you like drama, suffering, if you like arguing, if you like fighting and fussing, if you like high cortisol and high blood pressure, like Sinji says, go ahead and go for it. But if not, this is for the birds. And I don't get it. I personally know women like this who go from dude to dude within the community thinking that things will magically be different, and it ends up being the same. If it's not one thing, it's the other. If he is not unemployed and financially struggling and broke with bad credit, then he has an extensive arrest record, or he likes to sell drugs, or he's in and out of jail. If he doesn't have children, all across the city, and is not promiscuous and is not slinging peen everywhere, then he's going upside her head and is physically abusive and is verbally abusive like this fool, and is putting his hands on her. If it's not one thing, it's something else. And if you know, like I know, ladies, you'll walk away from this because you're playing with fire by messing with these niggers. If you're smart, you divest, and take it from me, and also take it from these women who are living proof. They say, smart people learn from their own mistakes, but very wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So let this be an illustration and just another example of why it's so important to divest and to stay away from these fools within the community. All right. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.
Fellas, if y'all come across a red iPhone, can you please bring it to the sound stage? Red iPhone, appreciate it.